If you subscribe to a music service that Siri on the HomePod doesn't support, for example Spotify, it's always been a little more of a pain to play music on the HomePod because you can't just ask Siri to play something. One feature that made this a little more bearable is Audio Handoff. Ever since the HomePod Mini came out, Audio Handoff finally gained some attention. But I still think there's some confusion on what it is and how it works. I quickly want to go over what handoff actually is. All it is an easy way to send audio back and forth between your iPhone and your HomePod. It's doing this using AirPlay. I'm not going to get into AirPlay in this video, so I'll leave some information in the description if you want to check it out. As I said, you can send audio back and forth, but what does that mean? Basically, it's an easy way to use the HomePod like a Bluetooth speaker. You can send almost anything playing on your phone to the HomePod. Podcasts, music, audiobooks, etc. And it doesn't have to be from Apple Music or Apple Podcasts. It works with other services like Spotify or Amazon Music. That's because this is built into the phone and the HomePods. It's not something that the app developers have to implement. In addition to music, you can also send phone calls back and forth. In order to get this to work, you need to check on a couple things. First, I should mention that all my devices are up to date on current software. Apple has made some changes to the handoff experience on certain devices, so everything I'm going over is how it currently is. You and members of your home can transfer audio using handoff. So this should work for people in your household if you have them set up in the Home app. You also need to have Bluetooth turned on and be on the same Wi-Fi network as the HomePod, and also have handoff turned on under Settings, General, and then AirPlay and Handoff. Then all you have to do is hold your phone near the top of the HomePod to transfer the audio. You don't have to tap them together or anything, it just needs to be close. This is not just a HomePod Mini feature. It works on the HomePod and the HomePod Mini, but it does get a little confusing. So there are two different handoff experiences. The basic one that's been on the original larger HomePod for a while now, and then the new one, which can only be used with the HomePod Mini. The basic one works as I described. You hold your phone near the top of the HomePod and you should get a little notification that handoff worked. Even if I was recently playing something on my phone that was now paused, it would still transfer and start to play right away. To get it back, just hold your phone near the top of the HomePod again, and you should get another notification that it moved back. This works for phone calls also. It's super simple and actually a really nice way to quickly send stuff to the HomePod that isn't supported by Siri. Then there's the new experience for the Mini. This version only applies to the HomePod Mini because it has a special chip in it called the U1 that's needed for this. Both devices need to have the chip though, so this also means that it only works with the HomePod Mini and iPhones that have the U1 chip. Currently this is the 11 and 12 series iPhones. Most likely all new iPhones from now on will have this chip, but if you have any other iPhone, you will get the basic handoff experience on the larger HomePod and the HomePod Mini. The new version of handoff works a little differently. This is the experience that you get if you have a U1 phone, an 11 or 12 series, and the HomePod Mini. As you bring your phone closer to the HomePod Mini, the HomePod will light up and your phone will start to vibrate with more and more intensity as you get closer. When you get close enough, a few different things can happen. If you have music or something playing, it will transfer and start to play on the HomePod Mini. On your phone, you'll see a screen with playback controls pop up. In addition to the controls, you'll see if there's an alarm set on the Mini or even any timers. If you were recently playing something that was paused, you should see a button on the control screen to transfer to the Mini. It doesn't automatically do it like on the larger HomePod. To transfer back, just bring the phone near the top of the Mini and the control screen will pop up. Then you have to tap to complete the transfer. Again, this extra tap is different than with the non-U1 devices. So this is the experience if you already have something playing. But if nothing is playing, when you bring your phone close to the Mini, it will pop up with some suggestions from Apple Music. But it seems like this only works if you're an Apple Music subscriber. I'm not, so for me, it just showed me the playback control screen. For phone calls with the U1 devices, you have to tap to complete the transaction in either direction, to or from the HomePod Mini. So handoff in general usually works well for me, and even the other members of my household, but there are times that it gets a little weird. Sometimes it takes a few tries to get the HomePod to recognize that my phone is nearby. I mentioned that the new handoff experience shows timers and alarms on the screen, but for me, it wouldn't show both at the same time. If an alarm was set and I had a timer going, it would only show the alarm on the control screen. And even though there's a specific spot for the alarms below, I'm not sure why it wouldn't just put the timer up above and the alarm down below. It didn't make sense to me. Also, if you have more than one timer on the HomePod going, it will only show the one that's going to end soonest. It seems like there's some room for improvement here. So Spotify refuses to enable HomePod Siri support. Apple made this possible for them to do it. Pandora has already done it, and I think we're still waiting on Amazon, but they said that they will. Spotify hasn't said anything. So as a Spotify subscriber, I use Handoff all the time with my HomePods. It's an excellent feature that is unique to the HomePod. Even if Spotify ends up supporting Siri, I'll still be using Handoff for other things like podcasts. But I'm not sure that the new Handoff experience on the U1 devices, specifically the Mini, has made this any better. It adds more layers of complexity to something that was great because it was so simple. And I'm not sure that I really have any use for these new features. I would have thought also that the U1 chips would have at least made Handoff more reliable, but I haven't noticed that either. Overall, I think I just prefer the simplified experience.